done, Georgia. Hard act to follow. But Yama everyone. So my name is Mia Strazik-Barker and I'm a proud Yuwaalaraay Gamilaraay woman from Lightning Ridge in northwest New South Wales. I'm a director of Woganurra Aboriginal Corporation and tonight I want to share a story about an important place, the Goondee Aboriginal Keeping Place and Museum. But before I begin, I want to acknowledge the country we're on tonight and that sovereignty was never ceded. I also want to acknowledge Georgia and Evie and all other mob joining in person or online. So now I want to take you somewhere. Come with me to my country, Yuwaalaraay Gamilaraay country, a place of deep red and black soil, of rare black opals and natural hot springs, and star-filled skies that stretch so wide they make you feel small. To some, Lightning Ridge is an outback town full of opal miners chasing their big break. To us, it's home. Home to our stories, language, culture, and the spirit of our old people. And it's all of this because of my Nen and Pop, June and Roy Barker, the founders of the Goondee. Our story begins and continues with them. Pop Roy Barker, a proud Murrawarri and Wiradjuri man, was born in 1928 on the banks of the Barwon River at the Old Brewarrina Mission on Yamba country. Nen June Barker was born in 1935 on Cumbregunja Mission. Her mother was Yorta Yorta and her father Southern Wiradjuri from Warringazna Aboriginal Mission. They both grew up in a time when our old people's languages were silenced. But Nen and Pop, they were powerhouses and they refused to be quiet. At the turn of the millennium, when most grandparents might have been slowing down, mine were just getting started. They built a simple shed on their property to keep artefacts safe, to protect old stories, and to make sure our knowledge would never be lost. That little shed became the Goondee Aboriginal Keeping Place, and soon people started coming. Locals, schools, backpackers, families trying to find their histories, researchers, all welcomed in by Roy and June. They didn't call it a museum back then, but rather just a place for everyone to learn. My dad, over by the window, Tom Barker, is a traditional weapon maker. He learned the tradition from his dad, who learnt from the old men, the ones in this photo here, and now he teaches that same knowledge to our next generation. This is a living culture passed hand to hand, not just word to word, and spaces like this are rare. For too long, our languages and cultural practices have been recognised in policy, but not resourced in reality. And at the Goondee, we're changing that. We've built a culturally safe space where learning happens on country, our way. This year, we employed our first school-based paid trainee, a young Aboriginal woman learning language, history and culture, and building a future career within this new Aboriginal languages and culture industry. That's not just life-changing, it's history-changing. Every lesson, every artefact, every short story shared heals something that colonisation tried to take away. And that's why we're only just getting started. Today, the Goondee is more than a museum. It's a living cultural hub, a place of learning, connection and pride. Every week, our team runs language lessons in local schools, online classes for mob living off country, artefact making workshops and cultural awareness sessions and museum tours. It's a place where we learn from the past and look to the future. Not either or, but both. And our vision, like Nen and Pop's, is generational. Our hope is to firstly refurbish the Goondee with no structural improvements since the late 90s, which limits us to only open in the cooler months. A refurbishment will immediately expand our services, footprint and revenue. From the strong roots of the Goondee, we would like to grow our long-term capacity. We have purchased the block of land behind it and want to build a cultural learning precinct. That means simple on-country accommodation, a large undercover area and a shared kitchen so we can host school camps, language immersions and cultural programs year-round. We're building a local economy grounded in language and culture, creating employment, enterprise and increasing pride. Every workshop, every tour, every artefact made keeps money and meaning circulating in the community. We're not just keeping culture alive, we are reweaving it into everyday life. And this is where you become part of the story. For 25 years, the Goondee has been sustained by my family and community, and up until 2023 without government funding. The only official contribution we've ever received an air cooler, which wasn't for the artefacts, but for a visiting researcher who couldn't handle the heat. So tonight we're asking for real investment to make a real lasting change. 30,000 begins the refurbishment, insulation, wall lining and climate control, so the Goondee can open all year round. 60,000 upgrades flooring and lighting in the Goondee, turning a tin shed into a physically safe and professional space. 80,000 protects our handwritten notes, recordings and artefacts through appropriate cabinets and archival storage. 100,000 or more allows for a portable office or retail space, creating jobs, showcasing local artists and giving my dad, Tom, a space to demonstrate and sell his artefacts, some of which are here tonight. Every dollar invested strengthens a living legacy, one that began long before my nan and pop and will live long after my daughters. You're not funding a building, you're investing in a different story, one that centres language, story and identity for generations to come. I want to finish with a small, powerful story. Not long ago, we repatriated 6 war medals belonging to an Aboriginal serviceman. They'd been entrusted to my pop for safekeeping in 2008, and for nearly 20 years, they stayed at the Goondee, kept safe. When we returned them to his granddaughter, she was overjoyed. Perhaps she assumed these were gone forever, or maybe they didn't even know about his sacrifice until that moment. Those medals, like every artefact in the Goondee, carry memory, story, and legacy. Without that space, they might have been lost. That's why my grandparents knew exactly what they were creating and naming when they called it the Goondee. Goondee means home in our Yuwaalaraay and Gamilaraay languages. It's not just a museum, it's a home for culture, for story, for our people, and for anyone who walks through the door. So tonight I invite you to be part of expanding that home and to help us keep it strong. A renovation for the generations who are yet to walk through its doors, and for the ones whose footprints walked through long ago and those that are already there. Mayuba, thank you.